Usually when we analyze a business model, the absolute gold standard for investors is just year-round stability.
Right, yeah. Predictability.
Exactly. Like, think about a grocery store. People are always going to need milk, right? The demand curve is just this flat, predictable line. Milk in December, milk in July. It's clean, it's understandable, and honestly, it allows executives to actually sleep at night.
Yeah, it provides visibility. I mean, you can project your Q3 revenues way back in Q1 because that baseline consumer behavior, it doesn't fundamentally shift.
But the moment you step into the world of seasonal entertainment or, seasonal digital utilities, that predictable line just completely shatters.
Oh, absolutely.
We are looking at an economic landscape characterized by extreme seasonal revenue concentration. You make, all of your money in a 4 to 6 week window, and the rest of the year is just an absolute desert.
It's a terrifying way to run a business, frankly. I mean, your margin for error drops to zero.
Right.
If you miss the window, if your product launches even 2 weeks late, your entire fiscal year is ruined.
Which brings us to our mission for today. Welcome to this strategy session on the Greenlight Report podcast. And if you're listening to this, treat it like you're the third person in the room with us, pulling up a chair to unpack a highly competitive, surprisingly ruthless phrase, the Christmas gift list.
It sounds incredibly innocuous, doesn't it? It sounds like something written on a notepad on your kitchen counter.
It really does.
Yeah.
But through this one specific title, we're going to take a deep dive and explore the hidden mechanics of the entertainment industry, the economics of union contracts, the digital real estate war happening right now in app stores, and the massive existential threat of seasonal consumer churn.
And to do this, we are synthesizing a massive stack of source material today. We've got industry tracking sheets from Production Weekly. We are looking at granular casting and union financial data straight from ACTRA Manitoba.
Which is wild stuff, by the way.
Oh, it really is. We also have digital intelligence reports from Marvel.ai, mobile app store historical data, and we are even analyzing deep audience sentiment from a highly specific fandom hub, the It's a Wonderful Movie blog.
Because, you might think a holiday movie is just simple, feel-good entertainment. But behind the scenes, it is a literal masterclass in financial risk management and digital survival. So to understand how a project like this actually materializes, we got to start way before a camera even rolls.
Right.
Exactly. We have to look at the industry's tracking pulse.
The Hollywood early warning system, because if you really want to understand the velocity of the entertainment industry, you don't look at press releases.
No, definitely not.
Press releases are just public relations, They tell you what a studio wants you to think. You look at the tracking boards. Specifically, you look at Production Weekly.
Under the editorial direction of Rich Browski. And for anyone who isn't like a Hollywood agent or line producer, the best way I could describe Production Weekly is that it's essentially the Zillow for Hollywood jobs.
That's a great comparison.
It's a raw registry. It's where you look to see what properties are hitting the market before the general public have any idea they even exist.
Yeah, it compiles weekly listings that outline tentative shoot dates, the production company, key creative staff like directors or casting directors, and just the logistical footprint of the project. If you are a talent agent trying to get your client a role, you literally live in this document.
But it's not just actors, right? Like if I'm a lighting vendor up in Canada, and I have a warehouse full of HMI lights sitting unrented, I am scanning Production Weekly to see who is about to need gear.
Right, exactly. Or a caterer looking to feed a crew of 100 people for 3 weeks.
Right. It's a B2B lead generation tool.
And the sheer volume of data in it is overwhelming. We are looking at the tracking for an upcoming 2026 Movie of the Week, or MOW, as the industry abbreviates it, titled The Christmas Gift List. It officially hit the active tracking rosters in mid-2026.
Yeah, I have the sheets right here. So it shows up in issue 1508, which published on Thursday, June 25, 2026. And it's literally just one line item buried among 122 other active listings spanning 26 pages.
Then exactly 1 week later, issue 1509 publishes on Thursday, July 2, 2026. And the database has swelled to 163 listings across 38 pages. The Christmas gift list is still there, heavily circulated.
So wait, why does the transition from someone's idea on a napkin to issue 1508 of Production Weekly matter so much? I'm looking at these dates late June, early July for a movie that has Christmas in the title. The timing just feels incredibly tight.
The timing is everything. The publication of issue 1509 perfectly coincided with the local casting submission deadlines in Manitoba, Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the inflection point where a project leaves the theoretical realm of script development and enters the highly expensive reality of active pre-production.
They are locking in their physical footprint.
Exactly. They are committing actual capital. And the industry monitors this because the development cycle of these seasonal films is blisteringly rapid. We aren't talking about a Marvel movie that has a 2-year pre-production phase to, design costumes and build sets.
Right, right.
These television movies have a prep schedule measured in weeks.
Which means the cash burn starts immediately and aggressively. I mean, if you only have 3 weeks to secure locations, hire a crew of 80 people, and cast your supporting roles, you don't have time to wait for traditional bank financing to clear.
No, absolutely not. Which leads us directly into the hidden financial engine of modern streaming, specifically how these independent production companies afford to shoot so rapidly without going completely bankrupt before day one.
Yeah, so I was looking at the union data in our sources, and the financial structure here just blew my mind. The Christmas gift list operates as a union production under ACTRA Manitoba. That's the Canadian Actors Union. And they are utilizing something called a new media discount agreement.
Yep, the new media discount.
I read the numbers on this and it feels completely counterintuitive. Like, why would a labor union willingly sign an agreement that allows a producer to slash their members' wages by 35% upfront?
I mean, on its face, it looks like a terrible deal for labor. A union exists to protect scale, right? To ensure a minimum floor for daily wages.
Right. If I'm an actor and the union tells me they negotiated a deal where I get paid 35% less than my normal rate, I'm voting new leadership into that union.
Well, you have to look at the broader mechanics of cash flow lending in independent film combined with the deferred compensation model.
Okay, unpack that.
So the new media discount permits that 35% reduction in standard ACTRA scale wages during the physical shoot. But in exchange, the actors get a 110% buyout provision on the back end.
Okay, I want to really dig into this math because it dictates how this entire industry functions. A new media principal, meaning one of your main characters, normally makes a scale rate of 632.29 Canadian dollars a day, right? Their overtime hourly rate is $118.63. In a standard actor role, makes $426.73 a day, with an $80.11 hourly overtime rate.
Exactly. So under this specific discount contract, the producer pays 35% less than those scale wages out of their operating account during the actual weeks of filming.
So instead of paying that lead actor $632 a day, the producer is paying them around $410. Multiply that savings across a cast of 20 people over a 15-day shoot, plus the compounding savings on overtime penalties. I mean, that is a massive amount of liquid cash the producer suddenly doesn't need to have sitting in a bank account.
Film production is incredibly cash intensive. You are legally required to make payroll every single Friday. If payroll bounces, the union pulls the actors off set and the movie dies instantly.
She shuts down.
Immediately. So by deferring that compensation through the new media discount, the financial risk is drastically lowered during the most vulnerable phase of the project when you are just burning cash to put footage on a hard drive.
It's essentially the union acting as a short-term, zero-interest lender to the production. The actors are subsidizing the cash flow.
That is exactly what they are doing.
But they aren't doing it for charity. Let's talk about this 110% buyout provision, because this solves a massive headache for the streaming platforms. In the old days of network television, an actor got a residual check every time a movie re-aired.
Yeah, traditional residuals were built for a broadcast model. If a network aired a movie at 8:00 p.m. on a Tuesday, millions of people watched it, the network sold ads against it, and a portion of that revenue went back to the actors. It was highly trackable.
But streaming broke that entirely. I mean, if I pay my $10 a month to a platform, I could watch 50 movies, or I could watch 0. My $10 just goes into a giant pool.
Yeah.
The platform can't easily attribute a specific micro fraction of my subscription fee to a specific viewing of a specific movie to pay out a traditional residual.
Right. The accounting overhead to track micro residuals for a streaming platform with thousands of titles would be more expensive than the residuals themselves. So this 110% buyout mechanism was designed specifically for the SVOD subscription video on demand reality.
So the actor gets a premium lump sum on the back end, effectively making up for the 35% they lost up front, plus a little extra.
Exactly. And in return, the distributor gets immediate, unencumbered, long-term distribution rights across digital networks. They can stream the movie in perpetuity without ever having to cut another residual check to some background actor who had two lines. It gives the platform total freedom to monetize the asset.
Wow. And this level of ruthless efficiency isn't just in the contracts. It dictates the physical logistics on the ground. Like, we know the director for the Christmas gift list is a guy named Nicholas Humphreys. And according to the sources, his production methodology is essentially the Henry Ford assembly line applied to holiday magic.
Humphreys operates in a margin-thin ecosystem. He shoots these films back-to-back in Winnipeg. He actually shares crew and equipment across multiple holiday projects.
Which is brilliant. Just think about the logistics. You rent a massive camera package, you rent a fleet of trucks, you spend a week dressing a town square with fake snow and Christmas lights.
And normally you strike all of that when the movie wraps.
Right. But he just keeps the lights on, swaps out the lead actors, changes the title on the slate, and starts shooting the next movie the following morning.
Keeping the overhead low is the only way this specific economic model works. The distributor is not paying Marvel money for these films. The licensing fees are fixed, so the only way the independent producer makes a profit is by squeezing every ounce of inefficiency out of the physical shoot.
Okay, so we understand the supply side, how the movie is made on a shoestring budget, using union discounts and shared crews. But who is driving the massive demand that necessitates this assembly?
Enter the distributor.
Right. Great American Media.
Great American Media is a fascinating study in aggressive brand discipline. They are led by CEO Bill Abbott, and his strategy for the network is very rigid. He literally refers to it as entertainment without compromise.
When I hear without compromise in the context of television networks, that usually means they are targeting a highly specific, very defensive demographic.
Yeah, according to the source material, Abbott focuses strictly on faith, family, and country. They are intentionally counter-programming against the broader, more cynical entertainment landscape.
I found a quote in the sources from a podcast appearance Abbott did, where he specifically noted that they do not compromise on their values or traditions. And the fan base appreciates that they are consistently supportive of this specific worldview without crossing the line into being, and this is a word the fans use, preach.
It's a delicate balance. It's almost lifestyle branding masquerading as narrative fiction. And you can see this discipline reflected directly in their development pipeline. Look at the titles they are greenlighting.
So we have A Christmas List of Blessings, slated for 2025, starring Shay Robbins and Christopher Russell. And then a year later, they commissioned The Christmas Gift List for 2026 from Evoke Entertainment. It's almost algorithmic. The word list is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
There is a deep psychology to the idea of a list in storytelling, especially for this demographic. A list implies order. It implies discovery, fulfillment, checking things off, resolving chaos into harmony.
Oh, that makes total sense. You start with a messy situation, a chaotic family, a failing business, a broken heart, and by the end of the list, everything is perfectly categorized and tied with a...
Exactly. By repeating these successful creative formulas and by using the exact same production partners like Evoke Entertainment, Great American Media keeps their product quality incredibly consistent. The viewer knows exactly what they are tuning in for. Right. And more importantly for Bill Abbott, it keeps the costs entirely predictable.
So they have this efficiently produced asset made possible by the 110% union buyout that gives them unencumbered digital rights. How do they actually monetize that?
Yeah.
Because Great American Media isn't just a single cable channel floating out in the ether anymore.
No, they execute a highly aggressive multi-platform monetization strategy. They are hitting the consumer at 3 completely different economic points with the exact same piece of content.
Break that down, because the architecture here is super impressive. First, they have traditional linear television.
Yes, they broadcast linearly via A Great American Family, and they recently expanded that reach massively by joining YouTube TV's live channel lineup.
Which is a crucial move. There is a massive segment of cord cutters who still want the psychological comfort of flipping on the TV, seeing what's playing right now, and leaving it on in the background while they wrap presents. Linear TV still commands premium advertising rates.
Yeah, but they don't stop at linear. They also utilize SVOD subscription video on demand through their platform Great American PureFlix.
Right.
This captures the audience that wants to binge watch on their own schedule and is willing to pay a monthly recurring fee for an ad-free experience.
And then you have the third pillar, which is arguably the fastest growing sector in media right now, FAST, free ad-supported streaming television.
They operate in the fast space through a platform called GFAM Plus Set. This captures the highly price-sensitive consumer. The viewer pays nothing, but the platform injects unskippable advertisements into the stream, generating CPM costs per mil ad revenue.
So they take one movie, shot efficiently in Winnipeg, and they sell it to advertisers on traditional cable, they sell subscriptions to cord cutters, and they sell digital ad inventory on free streaming apps. It is a phenomenal business engine.
It really is a closed loop of monetization.
But this is where our deep dive takes a bizarre, fascinating left turn. Great American Media has a total lock on the television and streaming space for the title of the Christmas gift list.
Yep.
But outside of the Hollywood ecosystem, that exact same title is triggering a massive SEO turf war in a completely different industry. Outside of the entertainment bubble, if you type the Christmas gift list into a search bar in November, what are you actually looking for? Are you looking for a movie starring Shay Robbins, or are you looking for a digital utility to track what you bought your nieces and nephews? App developers and media distributors are fighting tooth and nail for the exact same digital real estate.
It highlights the absurdity of modern search algorithms. A scripted narrative movie and a budget tracking utility app are colliding because they share identical metadata.
I want to look at the combatants in this app store turf war, because the stakes are incredibly high. The organic search volume for the phrase Christmas gift list skyrockets in Q4. If you own that top search result, your customer acquisition cost is practically zero.
Oh, yeah.
You have thousands of people downloading your product for free simply because they searched a generic phrase.
So let's analyze the competitors.
Yeah.
First, you have the iOS app simply called the Christmas gift list, created by an independent developer named Denise Yevenko.
Yeah, I looked at the feature set for this one. It's highly functional. It features basic budget tracking, iCloud syncing across multiple devices, and a password protection feature.
Password protection is crucial for this specific use case. I mean, you don't want your kids opening your iPad and seeing a literal database of everything Santa's bringing them.
Exactly. Yevenko monetizes this through a freemium model. You get the basic list management for free, but if you want to export your list to a PDF, or if you want to activate that iCloud syncing feature, you hit a one-time pro upgrade paywall. Depending on your region, it costs between $4.99 and $7.99.
Now, on the other side of the mobile ecosystem, you have the Android app. This one is titled Christmas Gift List Tracker, and it's developed by a London-based company called Qubid.
Their feature set leans much more into the social aspect of holiday shopping. Like, they focus heavily on real-time partner collaboration.
Which solves a very real pain point. You and your spouse are at two different stores, and you need to ensure you aren't accidentally buying the same toy for your child.
They also utilize these great visual status indicators. You can tag an item as to buy, bought, wrapped, or sent. It kind of gamifies the chore of holiday logistics.
And both the iOS app and the Android app are fighting for the exact same user intent.
It's a branding nightmare. Think about the cognitive load on the consumer. It's like opening a physical pop-up shop called Halloween Costumes, right next door to another store also called Halloween Costumes. And they are both located in the lobby of a movie theater, currently playing a film called Halloween Costumes.
That is a perfect analogy.
When a user types that phrase into their phone, the algorithm is forced to guess their intent.
But if an app developer manages to capture that traffic in December, they experience a massive revenue spike.
Right. Winning the SEO lottery in December is fantastic. You sell thousands of pro upgrades. But both the app developers and the streaming network executives share the exact same terrifying reality. The moment the calendar flips past New Year's Eve, they face the most brutal business threat in seasonal commerce, the January cliff.
The seasonal retention ceiling. It is the inescapable gravity of any holiday-centric product.
We have an incredible digital intelligence report from Moralville.ai that analyzes this exact phenomenon. According to the data, viewers and app users aggressively, almost violently, cancel subscriptions and delete these apps the second January 1st hits.
It's a behavioral purge. The psychology is really fascinating. The holiday's over, the budget is blown, the decorations are shoved into the attic, and consumers just want to wipe their digital footprint clean.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. They want a fresh start, and that means deleting the app with the Santa hat icon.
Let's look at the Marvel report specifically regarding the iOS app, the Christmas gift list. The metrics are wildly contradictory. On one hand, the app has a 4.7-star rating out of 5 from over 6,000 users. That is a phenomenal rating. People clearly love the utility of the product, but the Moral Intelligence classifies it as a zombie app.
A zombie app is a term used for software that is functionally alive on the store. Like, users can still download it, but there is zero developer pulse. There have been no updates pushed in over 7 months.
The last update was just a minor maintenance release for OS compatibility. They aren't running live operations. They aren't pushing new features. They aren't fixing bugs. They have completely abandoned a 4.7-star app with massive seasonal traffic. Why would a developer walk away from that?
Well, the Martha report dives into the recent user sentiment to explain the abandonment. Despite the high historical rating, the current data shows a massive spike in user frustration regarding what they call pro-tier paywall friction.
And the friction is specifically centered around having to pay for that iCloud sync feature.
Exactly. Let's look at the UI/UX expectations of a modern consumer. In 2026, people expect cloud syncing across their phone and their tablet to be a fundamental base-level functionality. It is no longer considered a premium feature, it is utility baseline.
Right, if I make a note on my iPhone, I expect it to instantly appear on my Mac. I don't expect Apple to charge me $5 to unlock that bridge.
So when a user is frantically shopping in a crowded mall on December 23rd, they open the app on their phone, expecting to see the list their partner updated on the iPad at home, and instead they are hit with a $7.99 paywall blocking their own data.
Ouch.
It creates immense friction. The user might pay it in a panic, but they will resent the app and they will absolutely delete it on January 1st.
Marvel.ai actually recommends a highly specific strategic pivot for the developer to fix this. They suggest moving the sync functionality from the paid pro tier down to the free tier.
They argue that creating sync parity across devices is a much higher leverage retention driver than squeezing a few extra dollars out of desperate shoppers.
Even if it means the developer have to pause coding new features like the PDF export.
Because think about the data permanence. If the app doesn't sync, the user treats it as disposable. They delete it in January. But if it does sync seamlessly and it holds their entire historical gifting data perfectly in the background well, they might just bury it in a folder on their phone and keep it installed for next year. Retention is more valuable than a one-time transaction.
But some developers are trying to go even further to fight that January churn. They aren't just trying to survive the deletion purge, they are trying to stay actively used. The intelligence report notes that developers are trying to introduce year-round event templates into these Christmas apps, things like weddings, birthdays, anniversaries.
They are trying to pivot from a seasonal utility to an everyday life management tool.
Okay, I have to challenge this strategy. Are people really going to use an app that is literally called the Christmas gift list, wrapped in red and green UI with a festive icon, to plan a summer beach wedding? That feels like a massive stretch. The cognitive dissonance is just too high.
It is a massive stretch, and frankly, without a complete top-down rebranding of the app's identity, it's likely to fail. But if we pull back and look at the macro ecosystem, the app developers are trying to solve the exact same problem the media executives are trying to solve.
Oh, right.
Great American media faces the exact same Q1 subscriber drop-off on their SVOD platform, GA PureFlix.
You might sign up for the free trial in November, they binge a dozen Christmas movies starring Shay Robbins, and they hit the cancel button on January 2nd when their credit card statement.
Exactly. So what is Bill Abbott's solution to the January cliff? He understands that the Christmas movies are merely an acquisition tool.
You bait them with a seasonal cheer.
You bring them into the ecosystem when their intent to purchase is highest. But once they are inside the walled garden, you have to trap them in January with entirely different content.
The sources outline their Q1 retention strategy, and it relies heavily on legacy television. They transition the audience from holiday movies into long-running series, like they use shows like Little House on the Prairie Season 2 to keep viewers engaged.
Legacy shows with massive episode counts are the ultimate churn killers. I mean, if you hook a viewer on a show with 100 episodes, they aren't canceling their subscription next month.
They also roll out original procedural dramas like County Rescue and When Hope Calls, which just wrapped its 3rd season, and they utilize their unscripted companion network, Great American Faith and Living, to provide year-round lifestyle content. Home renovation, cooking, daily living.
It is entirely about extending the customer lifetime value, or CLV. You cannot run a sustainable media company on a 30-day revenue window. The acquisition costs are simply too high.
Whether you are selling a digital budget tracker for $5 or a streaming subscription for $10 a month, you got to find a mechanical way to make the customer need you in March.
Right. And this brings us to the core thesis of this entire deep dive. With all of this inherent risk, the upfront cash flow demands of production, The brutal algorithmic SEO competition with random apps, the terrifying behavioral purge of January churn. Why is this specific market considered, as the PR Newswire source explicitly calls it, one of the most compelling success stories in entertainment this year?
It comes down to the ultimate safety net for any business audience: loyalty. And the demographic we are talking about here is fiercely, almost uniquely loyal. They operate differently than the mainstream pop culture audience.
To understand the depth of this loyalty, we really have to look at the community architecture.
I want to read the room of this fandom. So we have source material from a prominent blog called It's a Wonderful Movie. It's run by a woman who goes by the nickname Net. This blog serves as a central hub, a digital town square for fans of these specific types of television films. And when you read the comment sections on her post, the level of engagement is staggering.
They are not passive consumers who just leave the TV on for background noise. They are highly active participants in the ecosystem.
Listen to these comments regarding the casting announcements for A Christmas List of Blessings. One user writes, Shay Robbins is a fantastic actress. Loved her with Mason D. Davis, an identical love for GAC and Passport to Love.
Wow.
And then another user chimes in, Great American Family. Are you still going to have a third movie of Destined at Christmas with Shay Robbins and Casey Elliott?
It illustrates a vital metric of fan engagement. They are actively tracking franchise continuities. They know the actors' filmographies off the top of their heads.
Yep.
They know the previous romantic pairings. They know which network produced which film. They are deeply invested in the meta-narrative of the network itself.
And the cross-pollination across platforms is wild. On the same blog, these commenters are meticulously tracking actors moving across rival networks. There are massive threads buzzing about Lori Loughlin's return to the garage sale mystery franchise over on the Hallmark Channel. They track the writers, they listen to podcast appearances by the network executives, they consume industry news.
If we synthesize this behavior, the ultimate insight is that this audience isn't loyal to a single piece of technology, like an iOS app. And they aren't even loyal to a single movie. They are loyal to a highly specific feeling and a rigid set of values.
Entertainment without compromise.
Exactly. Bill Abbott's strategy works, and it survives the seasonal churn because he delivers exactly what he promises time and time again without deviation. He respects the audience's intelligence and their specific desires. By doing so, he turns a highly volatile forwent seasonal market into a reliable year-round lifestyle brand.
It's the difference between providing a utility and providing an identity. The app developer provides a function keeping track of receipts. The media network provides an identity, a community that shares your worldview.
Function gets deleted in January when the task is done. Identities stay subscribed all year long.
That is the perfect way to frame it. The mechanics of survival in this industry dictate that you must transcend utility.
Which leaves us with a very interesting question about where these two competing worlds, the digital utilities and the streaming networks, go from here.
Yeah, I want to leave you, the listener, with a new idea to ponder. A thought experiment that builds on everything we've unpacked today about the collision between these industries. As the lines between digital utility and digital entertainment continue to blur, will we see a future where streaming platforms actually integrate these functional shopping apps directly into the interfaces of the holiday movies themselves?
A true convergence of the search intent.
Imagine this. You are sitting on your couch in mid-December, watching the Christmas gift list on your smart TV via GA PureFlix. The main character on screen is stressing out while wrapping a present. Suddenly, a sidebar widget pops up on your TV interface.
Wow.
It allows you to simultaneously collaborate on your actual family budget right there on the screen, seamlessly syncing via cloud architecture with the app on your phone. The media becomes the utility. The entertainment becomes the tool.
From a retention standpoint, it's a brilliant trap. If your household's active budgeting software is permanently tied to your streaming platform login, the friction to cancel that subscription in January becomes incredibly high.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just be canceling a movie service, you'd be deleting your family's entire financial planning infrastructure.
Exactly. It solves the January churn problem by making the platform structurally essential to your daily life. Which leads me to our question for you today. If you're tasked with designing a retention strategy for a product that is entirely built around a single specific holiday, whether it's an iOS app, a movie streaming service, or a physical pop-up shop, how would you engineer it to keep people paying for it in the off-season? Let us know in the comments.
Psychological mechanisms of retention are always fascinating to debate. We love reading your strategies.
And hey, if you are watching this deep dive on YouTube, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It ensures you never miss our analysis of how these hidden industries actually operate, and it explicitly tells the YouTube algorithm that people value this level of detailed research, which helps push it out to more learners just like you.
And for those of you listening on podcast platforms, please hit the follow button. Just like on YouTube, it signals to the platform's algorithm that people are engaging with the show, which is the primary way we grow and continue bringing you these insights.
We sincerely appreciate your support. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Greenlight Report podcast. We started today talking about how holiday movies seem like simple, feel-good fluff. But I think looking at the union math, the SEO wars, and the brutal reality of January churn, we've proven that underneath the fake snow, it is a ruthless, highly calculated masterclass in financial survival. We'll see you next time.